Borneo. An island cloaked in mystery, where ancient rainforests breathe beneath the weight of time, and where every shadow hides a secret with wings. Its landscapes speak in rhythm. The hush of mist drifting through moss-draped trees. The chorus of frogs at dusk, rising from flooded jungle floors. And the echo of Bornean ground cuckoos calling from the forest floor. Borneo is a living vault of avian wonders, many found nowhere else on Earth. Some, like the Bornean bristlehead, are so unique they defy classification. Others, like the crimson-headed partridge, shimmer like forest spirits, seen only by the lucky and the still. In this video, we journey through the wild heart of Borneo to discover 30 of the island's most beautiful birds, each with a story as vivid as its feathers and a life woven into the pulse of the forest. Bornean ground cuckoo, Carpococcix radiceus. In the deep forests of Borneo, there's a bird so rare and secretive, many locals have only heard its voice, an eerie, booming hoot that echoes through the jungle like a distant drum. This is the Bornean ground cuckoo, Carpococcix radiceus. Its species name comes from Latin radix, meaning root, a nod to its earthbound habits. Endemic to Borneo, it haunts the island's dense lowland and hill rainforests, especially in Sabah and Sarawak. Unlike typical cuckoos that dwell in trees, this one is a creature of the undergrowth, silent, shadowy, and fiercely elusive. Measuring up to 21 inches in length, the Bornean ground cuckoo is a striking sight for those lucky enough to spot it. Its iridescent green wings, deep chestnut crown, and cobalt blue facial skin give it a bold, almost regal appearance, though it's far more often heard than seen. But it's not just its look that makes it fascinating. This bird doesn't lay its eggs in other birds' nests like most cuckoos. Instead, it raises its young the traditional way, making it an outlier in its family. It uses its strong legs to walk silently through leaf litter, hunting large insects, lizards, and even small snakes. Much about its breeding biology remains a mystery, but evidence suggests that the Bornean ground cuckoo is monogamous and nests in well-concealed spots close to the ground. Both parents may participate in incubation and feeding duties, though confirmed observations are rare. Breeding likely coincides with the wet season, when food availability peaks. The nest is presumed to be a loose cup of twigs and leaves, and the young are believed to fledge quickly, an adaptation to the forest floor's many predators. Its elusive behavior, combined with ongoing habitat loss, makes documenting its full life cycle a formidable challenge for ornithologists. Bornean bristlehead, Pityriasis gymnocephala. Strange, striking, singular. Few birds in Borneo, or anywhere, look quite like the Bornean bristlehead. Endemic to the island, its name Pityriasis gymnocephala combines Greek roots, pityron, bran, referring to its rough feathering, and gymnocephalos, bareheaded. True to its name, this oddity flaunts a vivid crimson head dotted with fleshy bristle-like feathers and a bare, dark crown that gives it a prehistoric air. Found only in the lowland rainforests of Borneo, especially in central and northern regions, it prefers the upper canopy, moving through the treetops in restless, chattering flocks. Measuring around 10 inches in length, the Bornean bristlehead has a stocky black body, yellowish thighs, and a heavy, hooked bill that hints at its carnivorous side. But it's the head that captures all attention, a bold red blaze with short, wiry bristles that seem almost ornamental. Neither songbird nor woodpecker, It's so unique that it stands alone in its own family, Pteriacidae. This bird's behavior is just as distinct. It forages acrobatically among branches, flipping over leaves and bark in search of insects, small vertebrates, and possibly even eggs. Flocks often travel noisily in mixed species groups, where the bristlehead usually leads the way. Despite being social and loud, almost nothing is known about its nesting behavior. Ornithologists suspect it nests high in the canopy, but no confirmed nests have ever been documented. Its breeding season likely follows fruiting peaks, which coincide with insect abundance, though the species is more insectivorous than frugivorous. With rainforest destruction accelerating across Borneo, the bristlehead is losing ground, and its mysterious breeding habits may disappear with it. As the only member of its family, this bird is not just rare, it's irreplaceable. A crimson ghost in the green cathedral of the canopy. Crimson-headed partridge, Hematortyx sanguiniceps. Blazing red in a world of green. There's no mistaking the crimson-headed partridge when it darts through the misty montane forests of Borneo. The species name, Hematortyx sanguiniceps, is a vivid one. Hema and sanguis both mean blood, while ceps refers to the head. Quite literally, it's the blood-headed partridge. Endemic to Borneo, this striking bird is found mainly in the cool, mossy highlands of Sabah and Sarawak, where it prefers dense undergrowth and shaded forest floors. Unlike most pheasants that parade in the open, this one vanishes into shadows like a flicker of fire. At just under 11 inches long, the crimson-headed partridge might be small, but its appearance is unforgettable. Males display a deep crimson head and throat, a contrasting black body with subtle white markings, and glowing red legs. Females are duller but still wear the iconic red crown. These birds are ground dwellers and highly secretive, often seen in pairs or small family groups as they scurry among leaf litter. Their call, a high-pitched whistle, echoes softly through the hills, often heard before the bird is ever seen. With short, rounded wings, they rarely fly, relying instead on speed and camouflage. The breeding habits of this partridge remain somewhat obscure, though it's believed to nest directly on the forest floor, building a shallow scrape lined with leaves. It likely lays 3 to 5 eggs, with both parents participating in care. The chicks are precocial, meaning they hatch fully feathered and ready to run, a vital trait for life in a predator-rich understory. Feeding primarily on seeds, berries, and small invertebrates, they forage by scratching through soil and detritus. While not currently considered endangered, its dependence on undisturbed montane forest makes it vulnerable to habitat fragmentation. A jewel of the highlands, the crimson-headed partridge is as elusive as it is exquisite. Barred eagle owl, Ketupa sumatrana. With glaring yellow eyes and long feathered ear tufts that curve like horns, the barred eagle owl doesn't just watch the night, it commands it. Found throughout the Sundake region, its name, Ketupa sumatrana, references its early documentation in Sumatra. But this formidable owl is also native to the rainforests of Borneo. It thrives in lowland and hill forests, especially in quieter, undisturbed areas near rivers or dense woodlands. As a top nocturnal predator, it silently rules the canopy and forest edges, often spotted perched motionless on large branches like a ghost in the gloom. Stretching up to 20 inches in length, the barred eagle owl is one of the largest owls in Southeast Asia. Its overall plumage is pale gray with bold horizontal black barring across the chest, giving it a powerful, armored appearance. The most eye-catching features, however, are its long eyebrows, dramatic, curved ear tufts that give it an almost mythical look. Unlike many owls, its call is unexpectedly eerie, a harsh growling "ow" that echoes through the forest like something out of a horror film. Armed with strong talons and a hooked beak, it preys on a wide range of animals. rodents, lizards, birds, and even large insects, striking with precision from above. Despite its fearsome presence, surprisingly little is known about its nesting habits in Borneo. It likely nests in tree hollows or abandoned raptor nests, laying 1 to 2 eggs per clutch. Incubation duties fall mainly to the female, while the male hunts and guards the territory. Chicks fledge slowly and stay with the parents for weeks, gradually learning the skills of stealthy predation. As an apex nocturnal hunter, it plays a vital role in regulating prey populations. The barred eagle owl stands as both a sentinel and a symbol of Borneo's ancient, vanishing nights. Whitehead's broadbill, Calyptomena whiteheadi. Imagine a bird so green it vanishes into the jungle, and yet when it moves, it glows like a living emerald. That's the magic of Whitehead's broadbill, a species found only in the misty montane forests of northern Borneo. The species name whiteheadi honors British explorer John Whitehead, who first collected specimens of many Bornean endemics in the late 1800s. This bird belongs to the family Calyptomenidae, and the genus name Calyptomena means hidden moon, a poetic nod to its secretive nature and rounded shape. It prefers cool, mossy elevations between 3,300 and 6,600 feet, especially in places like Mount Kinabalu and the Crocker Range. Measuring about 9 inches long, the male whitehead's broadbill is an explosion of electric green with black spots on its wings and a thick, broad beak that seems oversized for its small head. Its large dark eyes and fluffy feathers give it a cartoonish charm. Females are similar, but duller, and lack the wing spots. Despite its vivid color, it's remarkably difficult to spot, as it perches motionless in the mid-canopy, blending into leaves. Unlike its insect-eating relatives, this broadbill is primarily frugivorous, favoring figs and soft forest fruits. It often forages alone or in loose flocks, moving silently through dense foliage. Breeding typically takes place during the rainy season, when fruit is most abundant. The female builds a pear-shaped hanging nest out of moss and plant fibers, suspended from slender branches overhanging ravines or forest streams. An ideal defense against predators. Though not yet considered threatened, the species is vulnerable to habitat loss due to its limited elevation range and reliance on mature montane forests. The whitehead's broadbill is a glowing gem of the cloud forests, beautiful, quiet, and vanishingly rare. Temminck's babbler, Turdoides affinis. Often heard before it's seen, Temminck's babbler is a bird of quiet beauty and constant chatter, named in honor of Dutch zoologist Coenraad Jacob Temminck. The species name affinis, meaning related or similar, reflects its past confusion with closely allied babblers. Found in Borneo, as well as parts of Sumatra and the Malay Peninsula, this bird prefers the cool, damp undergrowth of submontane and montane forests, especially between 2,000 and 6,000 feet in elevation. In Borneo, it's most often encountered in the highland thickets of Sabah and Sarawak. Measuring around 8 inches in length, Temminck's babbler wears a suit of warm brown with a soft, grayish-white underside and a faint rufous wash on its flanks. Its appearance may be modest, but its behavior is anything but. Highly social and often found in small family groups, it flits through dense shrubbery, flicking its tail and uttering sharp calls that resemble soft laughter. It rarely flies far, preferring to run or hop along the forest floor as it forages. With a sharp, slightly decurved bill, it searches through leaf litter for insects, spiders, and small invertebrates, occasionally prying into moss and bark crevices. Little is documented about its breeding habits, but like other babblers, it is believed to nest low to the ground, often in shrubs or thick vines. The nest is likely a cup-shaped structure made of twigs, leaves, and rootlets, hidden within dense vegetation. Both parents may share in incubation and chick rearing, and cooperative breeding has been observed in related species, suggesting the possibility of helpers in raising the young. Its life is one of quiet routines and whispered presence, and while not flamboyant in color, Temminck's babbler brings life to the forest floor through constant movement and voice. Orange-backed woodpecker, Dinopium havanense. Like a flash of fire through the foliage, the orange-backed woodpecker is a dazzling presence in Borneo's tropical forests. Despite its species name, Javanense, referring to Java where it was first described, this bird is also found across peninsular Malaysia, Sumatra, and Borneo, where it inhabits both lowland and hill forests, mangroves, and even secondary woodlands. It thrives in areas with large old trees, especially near forest edges, where it announces its presence with a loud rolling call and sharp drumming that echoes through the canopy. Measuring about 12 to 13 inches in length, this medium-sized woodpecker is instantly recognizable by its fiery orange to golden upper back, deep red crown in males, black in females, and bold black wings and tail. The contrast of colors gives it an almost regal, flamethrower-like appearance. It uses its long, chisel-shaped bill to probe tree trunks, branches, and rotting logs for ants, beetle larvae, and termites, its primary diet. Agile and acrobatic, it often clings vertically or even upside down on trunks, sometimes foraging alongside other insectivorous birds in mixed flocks. Nesting usually occurs in tree cavities excavated by the pair themselves, often several meters above the ground. The cavity is lined with wood chips, and the female typically lays 2 to 3 white eggs. Both parents share incubation duties and care for the chicks, which fledge after a few weeks but may remain near the nest site for some time. The species is fairly adaptable to disturbed habitats, but still relies on large trees for nesting and foraging. With its vivid coloration, impressive drumming, and fiery presence, the orange-backed woodpecker brings a burst of color and energy to Borneo's lush green forests. Mountain barbet, Megalaima monticola. Tucked among the misty treetops of Borneo's highlands lives a bird with a voice like a bubbling stream and a face touched with green fire. Meet the mountain barbet, Megalaima monticola. Its name literally means mountain dweller, a fitting title for a bird found only in the cool montane forests of Borneo, usually at elevations between 3,000 and 6,500 feet. It is particularly common in areas like Mount Kinabalu and the Crocker Range, where it forages among fruit-laden branches cloaked in moss and cloud. Measuring around 8.5 inches in length, the mountain barbet has a compact body with soft green plumage, a pale yellowish throat, and a short stout bill tipped with black. A faint blue line arcs behind its eye, giving its otherwise leafy coloration a subtle touch of flair. Though not as flamboyant as its larger barbet cousins, it charms with its constant melodious calls, often described as a series of bubbly wook-wook-wook notes that echo gently through the mist. Unlike many fruit eaters, it is often seen alone or in small, quiet groups, feeding methodically on figs, berries, and other soft fruits, occasionally supplemented with insects. The mountain barbet nests in tree cavities, usually excavated by the pair into soft or decaying wood. While not currently threatened, this species is highly dependent on intact montane forests and sensitive to habitat degradation. Quiet, verdant, and ever-present in the mountain mists, the mountain barbet is one of Borneo's gentlest forest jewels, unassuming in color but rich in song and spirit. Mountain imperial pigeon, Ducula badia. Massive, majestic, and surprisingly quiet for its size, the mountain imperial pigeon drifts like a shadow above the treetops of Borneo's montane forests. The name Ducula badia reflects its noble bearing, Dukula meaning noble or duke-like, while Badaya refers to its rich chestnut coloration. This regal fruit dove ranges across Southeast Asia, but is a common sight in Borneo's highland regions, where it prefers dense, mossy forests above 3,000 feet, often near fruiting fig trees that grow along ridgelines and forest edges. At nearly 17 inches long, it is one of the largest pigeons in the region. Its body is a smooth blend of slate gray and maroon brown, with a soft pinkish hue on the nape and a striking pale eye ring that gives it a calm, watchful expression. Despite its size, the mountain imperial pigeon moves with grace, often perching silently high in the canopy, or gliding between trees with slow, deliberate wing beats. It feeds primarily on fruits, especially figs and drupes, which it swallows whole and helps disperse across the forest, making it a vital seed spreader for Borneo's mountainous ecosystems. Breeding typically occurs during the fruiting peak of the wet season. The pair builds a flimsy platform of sticks high in a tree, where the female lays a single white egg. Both parents share incubation and feeding duties, regurgitating fruit pulp for the chick once it hatches. The young fledge after several weeks, but often remain near the nest site under parental care. Although not currently endangered, the mountain imperial pigeon is vulnerable to deforestation and hunting in some parts of its range. As a gentle giant of the highlands, it adds both elegance and ecological balance to the skies of Borneo's mountain forests. Temminck's sunbird, Aethophaga temmincki. Glimmering like a flying gemstone in the mountain mist, Temminck's sunbird is one of Borneo's most radiant treasures. Its name honors Dutch zoologist Coenraad Jacob Temminck, while Aethophaga combines Greek roots meaning fire and rump, a reference to the brilliant colors that mark this group of sunbirds. Endemic to the highland forests of Borneo and the Malay Peninsula, Aethophaga temmincki prefers elevations above 3,000 feet, where it flits among flowering trees, especially along ridgelines and forest edges bathed in filtered sunlight. At just 5 inches long, the male Temminck sunbird is small but dazzling, crimson-red on the head, throat, and chest, with a metallic blue crown and a brilliant yellow belly separated by a narrow band of iridescent green. Females are more subdued but still graceful in olive and yellow hues. Its long, curved bill is perfectly adapted for sipping nectar, which it does while hovering like a hummingbird or perching delicately on blossoms. Besides nectar, it also feeds on small insects and spiders, especially when raising chicks. Its high-pitched, tinkling calls add a delicate musicality to the cool mountain air. Breeding usually coincides with the flowering season, when nectar is abundant. The female weaves a delicate, purse-like hanging nest from moss, rootlets, and spider silk, suspended from thin twigs, often overhanging a stream or open slope. She lays 1 to 2 eggs and handles most of the incubation, while the male helps guard the territory. Once hatched, the chicks are fed a mix of insects and nectar-rich food. This species depends heavily on intact montane forest habitats. Like a flicker of firelight among the leaves, Temminck's sunbird is a living jewel of Borneo's cloud-kissed canopies. Bornean forktail, Onychurus borneensis. Where the water tumbles cold and clear through moss-covered rocks, a flicker of black and white flashes across the stream, vanishing as quickly as it appeared. That's the Bornean forktail, Onychurus borneensis, a bird found nowhere else on Earth. The genus name Onychurus means needle-tail, referencing the deeply forked tail that constantly bobs as it moves. As its species name suggests, this forked tail is entirely endemic to Borneo, favoring fast-flowing mountain streams and forested riverbanks between 2,600 and 6,500 feet elevation, particularly in Sabah and Sarawak. Measuring around 7.5 inches in length, the Bornean forktail is dressed in bold black and white contrast. A white forehead and throat, black wings with a bold white bar, and its signature long white-tipped tail that seems in constant motion. Unlike other members of the thrush family, it's almost always found near water, darting along stream edges and hopping from stone to stone in search of prey. It feeds mainly on aquatic insects, larvae, and small invertebrates, using its sharp eyesight and quick reflexes to snatch food in the splash zone where land and water meet. The nest is usually placed on a rock ledge or among roots close to flowing water, well camouflaged and shielded from predators by overhanging vegetation. Made of moss, roots, and damp leaves, it holds a clutch of 2 to 3 eggs. Both parents are involved in raising the young, which fledge quickly to avoid the constant threat of flash floods. Despite its relatively healthy population, the Bornean forktail is vulnerable to water pollution and habitat degradation, especially from upstream logging. As both a river spirit and a forest sentinel, this elegant bird remains one of Borneo's most graceful and elusive highland jewels. Bornean treepie, Dendrochaeta occipitalis. Graceful, clever, and endlessly curious, the Bornean treepie is a tropical trickster with a flair for acrobatics. Endemic to the island of Borneo, its species name occipitalis refers to the back of the head, likely inspired by its distinctive gray nape that contrasts with the rest of its body. This striking member of the crow family inhabits hill and montane forests, typically between 3,000 and 6,600 feet, especially in the highlands of Sabah and Sarawak. It thrives in both primary and mature secondary forests, often making its presence known through a cascade of chattering calls. Measuring around 16 inches long, including its elegantly graduated tail, the Bornean treepie is beautifully marked in shades of warm brown, gray, and black, with a pale buff underside and bold white markings on the wings. Its long tail, black facial mask, and expressive crest give it a sleek and almost mischievous look. Agile and active, it moves through the canopy in small family groups, hopping, gliding, and sometimes even hanging upside down as it forages. Its diet is omnivorous: fruits, insects, nectar, and occasionally eggs or nestlings. Like its corvid relatives, it shows signs of intelligence and adaptability, frequently investigating new objects or sounds. The Bornean treepie builds a shallow cup nest made of twigs, leaves, and rootlets, usually placed in the fork of a high tree branch. The chicks grow quickly and remain with the parents for several weeks after fledging, often learning to forage within the safety of the group. Relatively common in upland forests, its restricted range makes it vulnerable to ongoing habitat loss. As one of the island's most intelligent and expressive birds, the Bornean treepie adds charm and energy to the misty treetops of Borneo's cloud forests. Bornean green magpie, Sissa jeffreyi. If you ever catch a flash of glowing jade in the shadows of Borneo's highland forests, you might be glimpsing one of the island's most stunning secrets, the Bornean green magpie. Endemic to Borneo, its species name, Geoffrey, honors British colonial administrator Geoffrey Whitehead, who collected early specimens of this vibrant bird. A member of the crow family, this magpie inhabits the montane forests above 3,300 feet, often cloaked in cloud and moss. Its preference for thick, shady canopy layers and skittish behavior makes it a rare sight despite its dazzling appearance. Measuring around 12 inches long, this bird is an electric burst of color. Emerald green body, bright crimson bill and legs, bold black mask across the eyes, and sky blue flight feathers that flash in motion. Its beauty, however, is more than skin deep. Like many corvids, the Bornean green magpie is highly intelligent, vocal, social, and inquisitive. It lives in small, noisy flocks, moving actively through the forest in search of food. An omnivore, it feeds on insects, caterpillars, small lizards, fruits, and even bird eggs, often raiding nests with surprising cunning. Its calls range from harsh chatters to bell-like notes that echo through the misty hills. Nesting behavior is secretive, but believed to follow the typical corvid pattern, a large, cup-shaped nest of twigs and leaves built in dense foliage. The female likely lays 3 to 5 eggs and shares parental duties with the male. Fledglings stay close to the family group, learning complex foraging techniques and social calls. The Bornean green magpie is highly dependent on intact highland forests, and habitat fragmentation poses a growing threat. With its hypnotic colors and clever nature, this bird stands as both a visual marvel and a symbol of Borneo's vibrant, vanishing biodiversity. Golden-naped barbet, Psilopogon henricii. Amid the emerald canopy of Borneo's highland forests, a flash of turquoise and a glint of gold signal the presence of one of the island's most vibrantly colored residents, the golden-naped barbet. The species name henricii is a dedication to Prince Henri of Orleans, a 19th-century French explorer. Endemic to Borneo, this dazzling fruit eater inhabits submontane and montane forests between 3,000 and 6,500 feet, where it favors mature trees, heavy with figs and wild fruits. It is especially common in protected highland areas, like Mount Kinabalu and the Crocker Range. Measuring around 9 inches in length, the golden-naped barbet wears a brilliant suit of neon green with a splash of golden yellow at the nape, a feature that gives it its name. Its face is marked with vivid turquoise and blue-green patches, and its heavy, ridged bill is pale ivory, perfectly built for crushing fruit. While it spends most of its time in the upper canopy, it is often more easily heard than seen. Its call is a resonant, rhythmic poop-poop-poop that echoes through the forest like a metronome. Despite its flamboyant appearance, it moves with a slow, deliberate manner as it plucks fruits or probes branches for hidden insects. Like other barbets, it nests in tree cavities, which the pair excavates themselves using their powerful bills. The female lays 2 to 4 white eggs, and both parents share incubation and chick-rearing duties. The young remain in the cavity for several weeks, fed on regurgitated fruit and occasional insects until they're strong enough to fledge. Because of its dependence on high-elevation forest, Psilopogon henricii is vulnerable to habitat loss and forest fragmentation. Yet in the cool, misty hills of Borneo, the golden-naped barbet remains a symbol of the island's colorful and ancient montane ecosystems, a glowing drop of gold in a sea of green. Indigo flycatcher, Eumaeus indigo. Like a drop of twilight fluttering between mossy branches, the indigo flycatcher brings a soft glow of blue to the mist-draped forest of Borneo. The species name indigo speaks for itself. This flycatcher is clothed in deep, rich shades of purplish blue that shift in tone with the forest light. Found across the montane regions of Borneo, Sumatra, and the Malay Peninsula, Eumaeus indigo is a highland specialist, preferring elevations between 3,000 and 6,500 feet. In Borneo, it is often seen around Mount Kinabalu and similar cool, moss-laden habitats. Measuring just under 6 inches in length, the indigo flycatcher is a dainty but unforgettable bird. Males and females are similar in appearance. A velvety, indigo blue body, slightly lighter throat and darker wings and tail. Its eyes are large and expressive, giving it a gentle look that matches its calm behavior. It feeds by sallying from perches to catch flying insects mid-air, or gleaning spiders and small bugs from leaves. Though often solitary or in pairs, it occasionally joins mixed flocks, moving methodically through the understory with soft contact calls. Its presence is quiet, but its beauty leaves a lasting impression. The indigo flycatcher typically builds a neat cup-shaped nest in sheltered spots, often mossy tree forks or ledges along steep embankments. Constructed from fine roots, moss, and plant fibers, the nest is well camouflaged and compact. The female lays 2 to 3 eggs, and both parents may share in feeding the chicks. Breeding likely coincides with the wet season, when insect activity peaks. This flycatcher's dependence on pristine high-elevation forest makes it sensitive to climate shifts and habitat loss. Delicate in form and quiet in demeanor, the indigo flycatcher is a whisper of beauty woven into Borneo's cloud forest canopy. Chestnut-backed scimitar babbler, Pomatorhinus montanus. In the dense, tangled undergrowth of Borneo's lower montane forests, a flash of chestnut and a sharp, curving silhouette mark the presence of one of the island's most distinctive ground dwellers, the chestnut-backed scimitar babbler. The name Pomatorhinus comes from the Greek for lid nose, referencing the protective flap over the nostrils found in many species of the genus, while montanus simply means of the mountains. True to its name, this babbler thrives in shady, moist highland thickets between 2,600 and 5,900 feet, especially in areas blanketed with ferns, vines, and leaf litter. At about 9 inches long, it's not the bird's size that draws attention, but its shape. The chestnut-backed scimitar babbler has a long, dramatically down-curved bill resembling a miniature scythe, which it uses to probe through dead leaves and moss in search of insects, spiders, and small invertebrates. Its chestnut back contrasts sharply with its grayish head, white eyebrow stripe, and buffy underside, giving it a bold, earthy appearance. Highly social and vocal, it moves in small, tight-knit groups, weaving through the underbrush while letting out a variety of whistles, chuckles, and piping notes that make it easy to hear, but hard to see. Its nest is typically built low to the ground, often hidden in thick vegetation or at the base of a shrub. The structure is dome-shaped, woven from leaves, moss, and roots, with a side entrance for extra concealment. While not globally threatened, the species' dependence on intact montane forest makes it susceptible to habitat fragmentation. A master of camouflage and communication, the chestnut-backed scimitar babbler is an emblem of the forest floor. Quietly industrious, richly feathered, and uniquely armed for life in the leaf litter labyrinth. Ashy drongo, Dicrurus leucophaeus. Graceful in flight and ghost-like in color, the ashy drongo glides through Borneo's forest edges with elegance and flair. The species name leucophaeus is derived from Greek, meaning light gray, perfectly describing the bird's soft, ashen plumage. Though found across much of South and Southeast Asia, this drongo is a regular seasonal visitor and partial resident in Borneo, particularly in submontane and montane forests up to 6,500 feet. It is often seen perched conspicuously on open branches, scanning for prey, silhouetted against shafts of forest light. Measuring about 11 inches in length, including its deeply forked tail, the ashy drongo has a streamlined form cloaked in smooth gray feathers, with piercing red eyes and a slim, slightly hooked black bill. Its long, elegant tail is a standout feature, fanning or twisting as it executes agile mid-air maneuvers to snatch flying insects. Unlike many songbirds, its calls are varied and musical, often mimicking other bird species, a talent shared by many in the drongo family. Whether performing aerial acrobatics or perching statue still, this bird exudes a quiet confidence and sharp awareness of its surroundings. Breeding behavior in Borneo is still understudied, as some populations are migratory, while others may nest locally. In general, ashy drongos build shallow cup-shaped nests high in trees, typically on exposed branches. Both parents participate in nest building, incubation, and feeding the chicks. Fiercely territorial during breeding season, they've been observed mobbing much larger birds, including raptors, to defend their nests. Adaptable and bold, the ashy drongo thrives at the interface of forest and open space, where its ghost gray figure and flickering tail cut a striking figure against the green. Snowy-browed flycatcher, Phaisdula hyperithra. Tucked in the cool understory of Borneo's montane forests, a tiny bird flits like a spark between mossy trunks and shaded rocks. This is the snowy-browed flycatcher, Phaisdula hyperithra, a name that perfectly describes its look, Phaisdula, referring to fig-eating birds, and hyperithra, meaning very reddish below. Though small, this flycatcher stands out with its snow-white eyebrow stripe and fiery orange chest. It is found throughout Southeast Asia's highland forests, and in Borneo, it prefers elevations above 3,000 feet, often near forest streams and damp slopes where insect life thrives. Barely 5 inches long, the male snowy-browed flycatcher is a striking blend of colors: a deep blue crown and back, a bold white brow that cuts across the face, and a vibrant orange throat and breast fading to pale buff below. Females are more subdued, with warm brown tones and a slightly less pronounced eyebrow. Agile and alert, the bird often perches low on twigs or rocks before darting out to snap insects mid-air or picking spiders and larvae off leaves. Its sharp, metallic call and faint trilling song are frequent sounds in Borneo's cloud forests, especially at dawn. Nesting takes place in the wet season when insect populations peak. The pair builds a neat cup nest from moss, fine roots, and fern fibers, usually placed in cavities or low ledges near the ground. The nest is so well camouflaged that it often blends seamlessly into the forest floor. Though widespread and not currently threatened, the snowy-browed flycatcher depends on cool, humid forest environments, making it vulnerable to long-term climate shifts. Delicate yet resilient, it's a glowing ember of life in the shaded corners of Borneo's highland forests. Fruit hunter, Chlamydera maculata. Mysterious, silent, and striking, the fruit hunter is one of the most elusive birds in Borneo's montane forests. The species name Geoffrey honors Geoffrey Whitehead, a collector who contributed to early ornithological work in Borneo. As its name suggests, the fruit hunter feeds primarily on fruit, but what truly sets it apart is its taxonomic uniqueness. It is the only member of its genus, Chlamydochera, and likely represents a highly specialized thrush lineage. Endemic to Borneo, it is found at elevations above 3,000 feet, especially in mossy forests surrounding Mount Kinabalu and the Crocker Range. Roughly 9 inches long, the male fruit hunter is easily recognizable by his bold black and white coloration, jet black upperparts, snow-white underparts, and a crisp black chest band that gives it a sharply defined tuxedo-like appearance. The female is less contrasting, with more brownish upperparts and cream underparts. Unlike most frugivorous birds that move in flocks or call frequently, the fruit hunter is solitary, quiet, and surprisingly difficult to detect, often staying motionless in the mid-canopy. It feeds mainly on berries and soft fruits, which it plucks with quick, deliberate movements, occasionally supplementing with small insects. Very little is known about its breeding behavior. Its breeding season likely coincides with fruit abundance during the wetter months. Because of its narrow habitat preference and cryptic lifestyle, sightings are rare and treasured by birdwatchers. Though not currently listed as globally threatened, the fruit hunter's future is tightly linked to the preservation of Borneo's highland forests. It is a true emblem of the island's avian endemism, stealthy, enigmatic, and scientifically fascinating. Hair-crested drongo, Dicrurus hottentotus. If you see a flash of glossy black with a wildly forked tail and hear a chorus of whistles, clicks, and mimicry echoing through the canopy. You may be in the presence of the hair-crested drongo. Its name, Dicrurus hottentotus, reflects older taxonomic history, but the bird itself has remained timeless, elegant, and intelligent. This species ranges widely across Southeast Asia, but in Borneo, it is a charismatic and vocal resident of lowland and hill forests, especially along edges, clearings, and semi-open woodlands up to 5,000 feet. Measuring around 11 inches long, the hair-crested drongo is cloaked in sleek, metallic black plumage with a subtle bluish sheen that catches sunlight beautifully. What makes it instantly recognizable is its distinctive forked tail, with outer feathers that often twist or curl upward like decorative streamers. It also sports a slight crest of raised feathers on the nape, hence the name. This drongo is a master aerialist, swooping, diving, and twisting midair to catch insects in flight. It also mimics the calls of other birds and animals, using its impressive vocal range, both to communicate and to deceive, sometimes imitating predator calls to scare rivals away from food. Nesting takes place in the dry season, with the pair building a small cup-shaped nest high in a tree fork, often camouflaged with bark strips and lichen. The female typically lays 2 to 3 eggs, and both parents share duties of incubation and chick feeding. Fiercely territorial, they'll aggressively chase off much larger birds to defend their nesting site. The hair-crested drongo still depends on tall trees and forest structure to forage and breed successfully. With its acrobatic flight, flamboyant tail, and sharp wit, this drongo isn't just beautiful. It's one of Borneo's most entertaining aerial performers. Little pied flycatcher, Phyxdula westermanni. Like a living brushstroke of black and white, the little pied flycatcher flits effortlessly through the dappled light of Borneo's montane forests. The species name Westermanni honors Johann August Westermann, a 19th-century naturalist, and pied refers to its elegant contrast of colors. Found across the mountains of Southeast Asia, this flycatcher favors Borneo's high-elevation forests above 3,300 feet, often near forest edges, ridges, and sunlit clearings where insects abound. Despite its widespread range, its delicate presence is easy to miss among the towering trees and misty air. Measuring only about 4 inches long, the male's a striking sight. Crisp black on the crown, wings and upper parts sharply set against a snowy white underside and forehead. The female is subtler, with gray-brown tones replacing the black but retaining the same graceful outline. With its short bill and alert eyes, the little pied flycatcher perches quietly on low branches, suddenly darting into midair to snatch flies, moths, or beetles. Unlike more gregarious birds, it tends to forage alone or in pairs, moving swiftly but without fanfare, like a quiet shadow among the foliage. Its nest is typically a small, well-formed cup built into tree holes, mossy banks, or sheltered root tangles. Constructed from moss, hair, and plant fibers, it cradles a clutch of 2 to 4 eggs. The female handles most of the incubation, while the male helps by defending the territory and feeding the fledglings. The species is not currently threatened, but as a highland forest specialist, it remains vulnerable to changes in climate and deforestation. With its tiny frame, monochrome plumage, and poised flight, the little pied flycatcher embodies the subtle elegance and quiet resilience of Borneo's mountain ecosystems. Storm's stork, Ciconia stormi. Rare, regal, and hauntingly beautiful, Storm's stork is one of Borneo's most elusive and endangered avian treasures. Named after the German zoologist Hugo Storm, who first described the species, Ciconia stormi is found only in a few pockets of lowland tropical forest in Borneo, Sumatra, and peninsular Malaysia. On Borneo, it survives in scattered wetlands and peat swamp forests, habitats that are increasingly difficult to find. This stork avoids open areas, preferring quiet, undisturbed stretches of river and forest where human activity is minimal, and tall trees offer safe nesting sites. Standing up to 35 inches tall, Storm's stork is elegant in form and striking in contrast. Its body is mostly white, with glossy black wings, a velvet black cap, and a narrow bare patch of reddish skin around the eye that gives it a sharp, alert gaze. The long, slender red bill and coral red legs add to its dignified silhouette. Despite its size, this bird is famously hard to spot, quiet, solitary, and camouflaged among the shadows of flooded forest. It forages slowly along rivers and forest streams, feeding on fish, frogs, aquatic insects, and crustaceans, moving with slow, deliberate precision. Nesting is poorly understood due to the species' rarity, but known nests are built high in large emergent trees, often over water. The platform nest is constructed from sticks and lined with leaves, and pairs typically lay 1 to 2 eggs. Both parents take part in incubation and feeding, raising their young in near total seclusion. Storm's stork is classified as endangered, with fewer than 500 individuals estimated in the wild. Rampant logging, palm oil expansion, and wetland drainage continue to shrink its already fragile habitat. As a symbol of Southeast Asia's vanishing wilderness, Storm's stork embodies both elegance and urgency, its beauty matched only by its peril. Pale-faced bulbul, Pycnonotus pallidus. With a face as pale as morning mist and a song as soft as wind through leaves, the pale-faced bulbul is one of Borneo's most distinctive mountain songbirds. Endemic to the island, Pycnonotus pallidus is found only in the highlands of northern Borneo, particularly in the Crocker Range and around Mount Kinabalu, typically between 3,300 and 6,500 feet in elevation. Its species name pallidus means pale in Latin, a direct reference to the bird's ghostly white face, which stands out strikingly against the dark canopy. Measuring around 7 inches in length, the pale-faced bulbul has a soft brown body, dark brown wings and tail, and that unmistakable whitish face and throat. Its dark eyes and bill are sharply defined against the pale mask, giving it an almost owl-like appearance despite its size. This bird forages quietly in the mid to upper canopy, often alone or in pairs, moving methodically as it searches for fruit, berries, and the occasional insect. Its voice is a series of mellow whistled notes, subtle, melodic, and in perfect harmony with the cool montane air. Breeding usually coincides with the wet season, when food is abundant. Though it remains relatively common within its limited range, this species is highly dependent on intact montane forest and is vulnerable to habitat loss and fragmentation. Unassuming but hauntingly beautiful, the pale-faced bulbul is a quiet sentinel of Borneo's high-elevation forests, its pale mask a soft, spectral presence among the green. Red-breasted partridge, Arborophila hyperithra. A quick rustle in the undergrowth, a flash of warm red through the ferns. This is the red-breasted partridge, Arborophila hyperithra, one of the most charming ground birds of Borneo's highland forests. The genus name Arborophylla means tree lover, though this partridge prefers the forest floor, and hyperithra refers to its richly colored breast. Endemic to Borneo, this species is found in submontane and montane forests between 3,000 and 6,000 feet, where thick underbrush and leaf litter provide cover, food, and nesting sites. Measuring about 10 inches in length, the red-breasted partridge is a round-bodied, short-tailed bird with intricate plumage. Its namesake breast glows a deep chestnut red, blending into finely barred flanks, and a gray face marked with a distinctive black eye stripe and white throat patch. Pairs or small family groups move quietly through the undergrowth, scratching the forest floor in search of seeds, fallen berries, insects, and small invertebrates. Despite its vivid coloring, it's remarkably well camouflaged among shadows and leaf litter, seen more often by chance than by intent. Nesting typically occurs in the wet season, when food is most plentiful. The nest is a simple depression on the ground, often lined with leaves and hidden beneath dense foliage. The female lays 4 to 6 eggs, and both parents are believed to take part in incubation and chick rearing. The chicks are precocial, hatching with down feathers and ready to follow their parents within hours. The species is highly reliant on undisturbed montane forest, making it vulnerable to habitat loss. The red-breasted partridge is a quiet gem of Borneo's upland slopes, unassuming in size, but unforgettable in color and grace. Chestnut-crested Euhena, Euhena everetti. Among the swirling mists and mossy treetops of Borneo's cloud forests, a tiny bird with a spiky crown darts from branch to branch, chattering cheerfully. This is the chestnut-crested Euhena, Euhena everetti, a species found only in Borneo's highlands. Its species name honors Alfred Hart Everett, a 19th-century British naturalist who explored the island's mountainous terrain. The bird prefers montane forests between 3,300 and 6,500 feet, where it travels in animated flocks that sweep through the canopy like a sudden breeze. Measuring just 4.5 inches long, the chestnut-crested Euhena is as charming in looks as it is in behavior. It sports soft gray plumage with a white throat and belly, offset by a rich chestnut crown that rises into a pointed crest, like a tiny feathery helmet. Its dark eyes, rimmed in white, give it an alert and slightly mischievous expression. Euhenas are highly social birds, moving in fast-paced groups that forage for insects, spiders, nectar, and small berries. Their excited chirps and contact calls echo through the forest as they zigzag through the upper foliage. The species builds a well-camouflaged cup nest in dense shrubs or small trees, often hidden among tangles of moss and vines. The female lays 2 to 4 eggs, and both parents take part in incubation and feeding. They often nest close to other flock members, reinforcing their cooperative, community-like lifestyle. Though currently widespread and common within their range, chestnut-crested Euhenas are sensitive to habitat loss at high elevations. With their expressive crests, hyperactive energy, and strong social bonds, these little birds add personality and rhythm to the forests of Borneo's misty mountain heights. 31st Bornean whistling thrush, Myophonus borneensis. Bornean whistling thrush, Myophonus borneensis. In the misty highlands of Borneo, where forest streams cut through mossy rocks, a bold, solitary figure sometimes appears, dark as midnight, but singing with a voice as pure as the mountain air. This is the Bornean whistling thrush, Myophonus borneensis, a bird found only on this island. The genus name Myophonus means muscle voice, a fitting title for a bird known for its powerful, flute-like calls. It prefers elevations above 3,300 feet, especially near cool, fast-flowing streams and shaded gullies in montane forests across Sabah and northern Sarawak. Measuring about 9 inches long, the Bornean whistling thrush is striking in its simplicity, deep indigo blue to almost purplish-black plumage that shimmers subtly in sunlight. It has a strong bill, sturdy legs, and piercing dark eyes. Despite its intense coloration, it is often hard to spot, remaining motionless on low branches or hopping silently among rocks at stream edges. It feeds on insects, snails, and small invertebrates, occasionally supplementing its diet with berries. It often forages alone, pausing frequently to listen, then moving with sudden, purposeful bursts. Nesting is thought to occur near water, in rock crevices or among thick vegetation, where the female builds a moss-lined cup nest. She lays 2 to 3 eggs, and both parents likely share in feeding the chicks. The species' hauntingly beautiful whistles can be heard at dawn and dusk, echoing across valleys like a song born from the mountains themselves. Although not currently endangered, its reliance on intact montane habitat makes it vulnerable to logging and disturbance. With its velvety plumage and soulful voice, the Bornean whistling thrush is both a visual and acoustic jewel of the island's highland ecosystems. Bornean stubtail, Urosphena whiteheadi. Blink and you might miss it. The Bornean stubtail is a tiny, restless bird that scurries like a shadow across the mossy forest floor, quiet, elusive, and endlessly busy. Named after the explorer John Whitehead, Urosphena whiteheadi is a species found only in the highland forests of Borneo. Its genus name, Urosphena, refers to its unusually short tail, ura for tail, and spheno for wedge, one of the features that make this bird so instantly recognizable. It inhabits cool montane forests between 4,000 and 7,200 feet, especially in the shaded undergrowth of places like Mount Kinabalu. Measuring just 3.5 inches long, the Bornean stubtail is one of the smallest passerines in the region. Its plumage is unassuming, olive-brown above, paler below, with faint eyebrow markings and a rounded body perched on spindly legs. But its behavior is captivating. It darts in and out of vegetation with surprising speed, tail cocked upward, pausing only briefly to flick its wings or scan for prey. It feeds on tiny insects, larvae and spiders, gleaning food from leaf litter, rotting logs, and low vegetation. Always close to the ground, it's a bird of shadows, silence, and movement. Little is known about its nesting behavior, though it likely builds a well-hidden dome-shaped nest near or on the forest floor, camouflaged in moss and leaves. The female is believed to lay 2 to 3 eggs, and both parents may take part in feeding the chicks. Its preference for thick undergrowth in high-elevation forests makes it highly sensitive to habitat disturbance. The Bornean stubtail's charm lies in its size, secrecy, and precision, a miniature marvel of the mossy floor, and a living whisper in the heart of Borneo's cloud forests. Sunda laughing thrush, Garrulax palliatus. There's something unmistakable about the joyful clamor of a group of laughing thrushes, an energetic chorus that brings life to the fog-draped forests of Borneo. Among them, the Sunda laughing thrush stands out with its soft tones and expressive face. The species name palliatus means cloaked, a nod to the bird's smooth, hooded plumage. Endemic to the Sundaic mountain regions, this species is found in Borneo and Sumatra, favoring submontane and montane forests from 3,000 to 7,200 feet, where it roams in sociable bands through the undergrowth and lower canopy. Measuring around 10 inches in length, the Sunda laughing thrush has warm brown plumage with a buffy throat and pale eyebrows that give it a gentle, almost inquisitive look. Its voice, however, is anything but subtle. A bubbling mix of chuckles, whistles, and squeaks exchanged constantly among group members. These birds travel in tight flocks of 5 to 15 individuals, foraging actively along the forest floor and mid-levels, flipping leaves and probing moss for insects, spiders, small snails, and fallen fruits. Their strong social bonds and constant communication make them one of the forest's most animated inhabitants. Breeding is timed to the rainy season, when insect prey is most abundant. Nests are shallow cups built in shrubs or low trees, made from rootlets, moss, and leaves. The female lays 2 to 3 eggs, and both parents, and often additional helpers, share the task of incubation and chick care, a hallmark of their cooperative breeding system. Common in many highland areas, the Sunda laughing thrush is vulnerable to habitat loss and fragmentation. With its charismatic chatter, elegant plumage, and highly social nature, this bird brings both music and motion to the green cathedral of Borneo's cloud forests. From misty mountains to sun-dappled forest floors, Borneo's birds reveal a world both ancient and alive. Each one, from the brilliant bristlehead to the hidden stubtail, carries a story of wild beauty and survival. As we leave this island of feathered wonders behind, may their colors, calls, and mystery stay with you. Thank you for walking with us through Borneo's avian wonders. Until we meet again, may the forest call stay with you, wherever you are.